Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to take a moment right now and feel something. Not just hear me, but feel me. Because today we're going to talk about that quiet voice deep inside you, the one that so many ignore, yet it's the one that knows the truth. That's your heart. And let me tell you, you have to listen to your heart. Now, I know the world is noisy. There are opinions, distractions, social media, and people telling you what you should do, who you should be. But guess what? They don't live your life. They don't walk in your shoes. Only you do. And the map to your destiny isn't written in their words, it's written in your heart. Your heart, people, is your compass. It doesn't lie to you, it doesn't cheat you, but it does require faith. Faith in yourself. Faith that the path you're meant to take may not be the easiest one, but it's the one that will lead you to greatness. When you listen to your heart, you might face fear. And fear is just a test. It's the world asking you, how much do you want it? It's not there to stop you. It's there to see if you've got the courage to keep going. There were times in my own life when I doubted, when I second guessed. But the moment I chose to listen to that small, powerful voice inside, everything changed. The opportunities, the people, the blessings, they started aligning. And I realized the heart knows before the world catches up. But here's the catch, listening to your heart isn't enough. You've got to move. You've got to take that dream, that whisper, that calling, and act on it. Because a dream without action is just a wish. So I'm telling you today, stop waiting for permission. Stop looking for validation. You already have what you need. It's in you. It's been in you this whole time. When you leave here today, I want you to promise yourself one thing: that you'll listen to your heart, that you'll trust it, and that you'll act on it. The world doesn't need another copy, it needs you. The real you, the one your heart is calling you to be. So go out there and make it happen. And when the world asks, who told you you could do it, you look them in the eye and say, my heart did. The voice within you, that's where the magic starts. You see, we live in a world full of noise. Everyone's got an opinion, a piece of advice, a direction they think you should take. But the truth isn't out there, it's in here. It's in your heart. Your heart knows who you are before the world even tries to tell you. It knows your passions, your dreams, and the kind of person you're meant to become. But here's the thing, it doesn't shout, it whispers. It's that quiet voice inside you, the one that says, this is what feels right, or this is the way you're meant to go. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can I trust something I can't explain? Let me tell you, your heart doesn't operate with logic, it operates with truth. It's not bound by fear or doubt. It's pure. And when you learn to listen to it, it will guide you in ways you can't even imagine. But to hear it, you have to silence the world. You have to tune out the doubters, the critics, even your own fears. That takes courage. Because let me tell you, following your heart isn't always the easy road. It's not the road that guarantees applause or approval. But it is the road that leads to your purpose, your passion, your greatness. So I'm asking you, no. I'm challenging you, listen to the voice within. Trust it. Let it be your compass. Because when you do, you'll find something extraordinary, the life you were always meant to live. Let me tell you about trust. Trust isn't just about believing in other people, it's about believing in yourself. It's about believing in that little spark, that pull, that nudge that comes from your heart. That's your compass, guiding you through the chaos of life. But let me warn you, this compass doesn't always point to the easiest path. No, it points to the right path, the path you're meant to walk. And sometimes that path looks uncertain, uncomfortable, even impossible. That's when trust matters the most. You have to trust your heart, even when the world tells you otherwise. Think about a compass for a moment. It doesn't argue with you. It doesn't explain itself. It just points north. It's up to you to follow. That's exactly how your heart works. It won't scream, it won't demand. It will just keep pointing you towards your truth over and over again until you're brave enough to listen. And I'll tell you something else: when you start to trust that compass, the world around you starts to shift. Suddenly, the doors you thought were locked will open. The people you need will appear. The opportunities you never imagined will find you. But none of that happens until you take that first step, until you put your faith in the direction your heart is pointing you toward. So don't ignore it. Don't doubt it. Trust your heart because it's never been wrong about you. It knows where you're meant to go, even when you can't see the destination. Let it lead you. Let it guide you. Trust it and watch how your life transforms. In this world, we are constantly surrounded by noise. Noise that distracts us, overwhelms us, and tries to pull us away from what really matters. There are 1,000 voices telling you what to do, how to live, who to be. But let me tell you something: you can't hear your heart if you're drowning in all that noise. You have to quiet everything down. Now, I'm not talking about turning off the world completely. You can't avoid the challenges, the struggles, or the opinions, but you can choose what you give your attention to. You have to make space to listen to your heart, to hear that still, quiet voice inside that's been trying to speak to you all along. When you make that space, when you shut out the distractions and take a breath, something amazing happens. You start to connect to your true self, to that deep wisdom within you that's been waiting to be heard. It's like tuning into the most important station on the radio, and suddenly everything starts to make sense. The answers you've been searching for aren't out there in the noise, they've always been in you. But here's the thing: listening isn't just about hearing, it's about understanding and acting. Once you hear that voice, once you know what your heart is telling you, don't ignore it. Don't second guess it. Because the longer you wait, the more the noise will try to pull you away. The more the world will try to tell you you're wrong, or it's too hard, or it's too risky. So when you listen to your heart, trust what it's saying. Even if it doesn't make sense right away. Even if you can't see the full picture, the heart knows the way and it will never steer you wrong. But you've got to be willing to hear it, to turn down the volume of the world, and to act on the direction it's giving you. It's not always going to be easy, but if you take the time to listen, you'll find that your heart has been speaking the truth you've been looking for all along. Let me tell you something: courage doesn't come from the outside, it comes from within. It comes from that quiet strength in your chest, that fire in your heart that tells you to keep going, even when the road gets rough. You see, courage is not the absence of fear. No, courage is pushing forward in spite of the fear. And if you're going to listen to your heart, you need that courage. Now, I won't lie to you. Following your heart isn't going to be easy. It's not always going to be smooth. It's not always going to be comfortable. And it's certainly not always going to be popular. People will question you, they'll doubt you, and sometimes you might even doubt yourself. But here's the thing: the more you listen to your heart, the stronger your courage becomes. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. When your heart calls you to do something, when it pulls you in a direction that feels right, but seems so far out of your comfort zone, that's when courage steps in. That's when you have to dig deep and say, I know what my heart is telling me, and I'm going to trust it no matter what. And trust me, you're going to need that courage. There will be moments when the world will try to push you back, when people will tell you to play it safe, to stick with what's known. But those are the moments when your heart needs you most. It's in those moments when courage transforms fear into fuel. Fear isn't there to stop you, it's there to see if you're willing to keep going, if you're willing to stand tall, to face the unknown. So when the fear comes, and it will come, don't run from it. Don't let it paralyze you. Step forward anyway. Because every step you take in the face of that fear is a victory. Every time you move forward, despite the doubts, you're building something stronger than you ever imagined. You're building faith in yourself. Listen to your heart, yes, but then have the courage to act on it. Even if it scares you, even if you don't know exactly how things will turn out. Because that's the secret. It's never about knowing the whole journey. It's about trusting that your heart will lead you and having the courage to take the first step. Now, I need you to understand something crucial: your heart doesn't think like your head. Your heart doesn't weigh the pros and cons. It doesn't sit down with a calculator to map out all the risks. Your heart feels. It doesn't operate on logic, it operates on something much deeper. It operates on truth. And here's what's amazing: your heart is never wrong. It might be misunderstood, it might be clouded by fear or doubt, but at its core, it knows exactly what it wants, exactly where you need to go. It knows who you're meant to be. And that's the difference. Your heart doesn't need the perfect plan or the perfect moment. It just needs you to listen. Your head will tell you to be cautious, to wait for the right time, to analyze every possibility until you're frozen in place. But your heart says go, just go. Now, don't get me wrong, thinking and planning are important. But there comes a time when thinking too much can paralyze you. When you're too busy analyzing every angle, you start missing the one thing that's been waiting for you all along: your heart's call. It's asking you to step out of your head and trust what you feel. You've probably been in situations where your heart was telling you to do one thing, but your head was trying to convince you to do something else. Your head tells you it's too risky, too scary, too uncertain. But your heart, it just knows. It tells you to take the leap. And here's the thing: when you follow your heart, when you take that leap, you discover something incredible. The world opens up in ways you can't even explain. Things align that you never expected. The pieces fall into place, and what once seemed impossible suddenly becomes the path forward. You have to trust that your heart's wisdom will carry you further than your mind ever could. It will lead you to opportunities that you wouldn't have seen if you were stuck in the weeds of overthinking. So stop waiting for everything to line up perfectly. Stop waiting for the fear to go away. Trust your heart and let it lead you, because your heart is always working in your favor, even when your head doesn't understand it. Let me tell you something that you need to hear: your heart never lies to you. It doesn't have an agenda, it doesn't have an ulterior motive, it simply speaks the truth. And that truth is what we so often ignore, because it's too simple, too pure, and at times too uncomfortable. You see, we live in a world that's constantly trying to sell us a version of the truth that benefits someone else. People tell you who you should be, what you should want, what you should be chasing. But the truth, the real truth, doesn't come from them. It comes from within you. It comes from the voice in your chest that knows exactly who you are, what you're capable of, and where you're meant to go. And the more you listen to it, the more you realize something important: it's always been there. Your heart doesn't need to prove anything to you. It just speaks. It speaks in moments of quiet clarity, in the pull you feel towards something that feels right, in the stillness where everything else fades away. The challenge is learning how to hear it, learning how to trust it, even when it doesn't fit into the mold the world has created for you. But here's the kicker: sometimes the truth is hard to accept. Sometimes the truth your heart is telling you isn't what you want to hear. Maybe it's telling you to let go of something or someone. Maybe it's telling you that you've been living in fear for too long and it's time to step into your power. Maybe it's telling you that you're meant for something greater than you've been allowing yourself to believe. But no matter how tough the truth is, it's always the path that leads to freedom. The lies of the world are temporary, they fade, they break apart. But the truth that comes from your heart is eternal. It's steady, it's unwavering. When you start to trust your heart, you start to realize that the world's version of success isn't the only version that matters. The only thing that truly matters is your own truth. So listen to your heart. Hear it, trust it, and follow it. Because it will never lead you astray. It knows the truth about you even when you haven't fully recognized it yourself. And when you finally align with that truth, when you let it guide your life, you will step into a power that can't be taken away. That's the kind of truth your heart holds, the kind that sets you free. Living authentically is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. It means showing up in the world as your true self, not as the person someone else wants you to be. And here's the reality: most of us are walking around with masks on, hiding parts of ourselves, trying to meet expectations that aren't even ours to begin with. We've been taught to fit into boxes, to color inside the lines, to follow the rules of a world that doesn't understand us. But here's the truth: you were never meant to fit into anyone's box. You were meant to be you fully, unapologetically, and without compromise. To live authentically is to be in alignment with your heart, to listen to its call, and to step into your truth even when it's scary. Because when you live authentically, you're not just living for other people's approval. You're living for yourself. You're choosing to honor the deepest part of who you are. And trust me, that's not always easy. There will be people who won't understand you, who will question you, who will try to tell you that you're doing it wrong. But that's the price of authenticity. That's the price of freedom. When you live authentically, something incredible happens. You stop carrying around the weight of other people's expectations. You stop pretending to be someone you're not, and that weight lifts off your shoulders. Suddenly, the air feels lighter, your mind feels clearer, and you start to realize that you've been holding yourself back for far too long. And what's waiting for you on the other side of that is a life that's truly yours, a life full of passion, purpose, and power. But authenticity doesn't come without challenges. It doesn't come without risks. People will judge you. They'll try to put you in their little boxes, but you have to remind yourself that those boxes were never meant for you. Your heart was meant to break out of them. It was meant to show you a path that no one else could walk but you. And the more you embrace your authentic self, the more your life will open up in ways you never expected. So I challenge you to stop hiding, stop pretending, start living authentically. Listen to the voice inside that says, "This is who I am," and be bold enough to say it to the world. When you do, you will find that the people who truly matter, the ones who are meant to be in your life, will show up. The right opportunities, the right relationships, the right path will all start aligning because you are finally living as the person you were always meant to be. And that, my friends, is when you will discover what true freedom feels like. Let me tell you something, and I need you to really hear me on this. If you want to live the life you were meant to live, if you want to experience the kind of growth, success, and joy that most people only dream about, you have to believe in yourself. It starts with having faith that you can do it, that you're capable, that no matter where you start, no matter what obstacles lie in your path, you can make it. But here's the kicker: that belief, that faith, it doesn't come from the outside. It has to come from within. When you listen to your heart, when you start following that deep, undeniable pull towards something greater, there will be moments of doubt. There will be days when you wonder if you're on the right path, if you have what it takes, if you're good enough. And in those moments, you need to remember this: faith in yourself isn't about never doubting. It's about having the courage to move forward despite the doubt. It's about trusting that even when things aren't clear, even when the road ahead is uncertain, your heart knows where to lead you. You have to believe in your own potential, even when no one else does. Even when the world tells you that your dreams are too big, too risky, or too out of reach, you have to be the one to say, "I believe in me. I believe in what I'm capable of." Because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. And if you don't believe in yourself, you'll never find the strength to keep going when things get tough. Faith in yourself doesn't mean you won't face challenges. It doesn't mean you won't fail. It means you'll get back up over and over and over again, no matter what. It means you'll trust that every setback is just a lesson, a stepping stone that's guiding you closer to your goals. It means you'll embrace the journey with all its highs and lows, knowing that every step you take brings you one step closer to the person you're meant to be. The more you believe in yourself, the more you'll realize that the limits you've been putting on your life were never real. They were just stories, false narratives you've been telling yourself. And when you shatter those stories and step into your full potential, you unlock a power that the world can't deny. So I'm telling you right here and right now, have faith in yourself. Believe in the power that's inside you. Believe that you are more than enough, that you have what it takes to build the life you desire, to chase the dreams that are burning in your heart. Trust yourself and everything else will follow. You were never meant to play small. You were meant for greatness. So start believing in that greatness today. Now, I want you to think about something for a moment. How many of us sit around day after day wishing for change but never really taking action? How many of us dream about the life we want, but then sit back waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect plan? Let me tell you something, the perfect moment doesn't exist. The perfect opportunity, it's not out there waiting for you. It's right here in this moment. Dreams don't become reality by chance, they become reality through action. And action, my friends, is what separates those who wish from those who achieve. You've got to take that first step, you've got to trust your heart, and you've got to move. Because nothing in life will ever change until you take that leap of faith. When you listen to your heart, when you finally understand the direction you're meant to go in, there's a sense of urgency. That dream you've been carrying inside of you, it's not just a nice idea, it's a calling. It's your purpose whispering to you, saying, it's time. Now is the time, and the only way to make it happen is by acting. I know it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that you need everything to be perfect before you move. But here's the truth, perfection is a myth. There's never a perfect time. There will always be risks. There will always be uncertainties. But you know what? That's what makes the journey so powerful. Because when you take that first step, when you decide to move forward, the universe starts to align. Things start to fall into place in ways you never imagined. Opportunities show up, people show up, and your path becomes clearer with every action you take. But it all starts with you. It starts with you choosing to move, choosing to act on what your heart is telling you. And once you do, you'll start to see that those little actions, those little steps build momentum. They create the change you've been waiting for. So stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop waiting for the stars to align. The time is now. Take that first step. Trust that your heart knows the way, and that with every action, you're bringing your dreams closer to reality. Your future starts with what you do today. So don't just dream, take action. And watch how your dreams begin to unfold in front of your very eyes. There's something powerful about knowing where you're headed. It gives you focus. It gives you direction. But here's the thing, knowing where you're going is only half the battle. The other half, it's understanding that the journey to greatness doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, a series of steps, and often those steps take you down paths you never even saw coming. Greatness isn't a destination you just stumble upon. It's something that's earned, something you build, and the key to unlocking it is listening to your heart. Because your heart is the one thing that knows exactly where you're meant to be. It knows the lessons you need to learn, the challenges you need to face, and the person you need to become. When you listen to it, when you trust it, it will guide you to places of strength and purpose, to a life that's far beyond anything you ever imagined. But here's the challenge, greatness doesn't come from comfort. It doesn't come from staying in your little corner, playing it safe, and hoping for things to fall into place. No, greatness requires you to step up. It requires you to push through the doubt, the fear, the setbacks, and most importantly, the people who will try to tell you that you can't. But when you listen to your heart, you'll hear something powerful. You can. You were built for this. You were built for greatness. It's already inside of you. So many people get stuck in a mindset where they think greatness is reserved for a select few. They think it's for the lucky ones, the ones who were born into the right circumstances. But I'm here to tell you that's not true. Greatness is available to everyone if they're willing to work for it. If they're willing to listen to that voice inside that says, keep going, you're on the right path, you're capable of so much more. When you embrace the greatness within you, something shifts. You stop playing small. You stop doubting your potential. You start seeing every challenge as an opportunity, every obstacle as a lesson, and every setback as a step toward your ultimate goal. Your heart knows this, and when you follow it, when you let it lead you, there's no limit to what you can achieve. So listen closely. Listen to the voice that's been guiding you all along. It's telling you that greatness is waiting. It's telling you that you have everything you need inside you right now. And the only thing standing between you and that greatness is the choice to believe in yourself and take that next step. You were meant for this. You were meant for greatness. And when you follow your heart, you will unlock the life you were always meant to live. In the end, It all comes down to one simple truth. You are the author of your own story. You have the power to shape your future, to chase your dreams, and to live a life that's true to who you are. It starts with listening to your heart, trusting it, and having the courage to take that first step. The world will try to tell you what's possible, what's realistic, what you should be doing. But only you know what's right for you. Only you can feel the pull of your true purpose. And when you start to follow it, when you make that commitment to yourself, there is nothing that can stop you. You have greatness inside of you. You have the ability to overcome every challenge, to rise above the doubts, to transform your life into something extraordinary. But none of that happens if you don't listen to your heart. It's time to stop waiting for the perfect moment. It's time to stop doubting yourself. Your heart knows the way. It's time to trust it, to follow it, and to live the life you were always meant to live. So stand tall, step forward with purpose, believe in yourself, and know that with every step you take towards your heart's calling, you are becoming the person you were always meant to be. This is your time. This is your moment. Trust your heart, and the rest will follow.